economic benefits of this project to the UK economy are ensuring that our energy-intensive industries can have a long-term future in the UK. For many of these industries to decarbonise fully, industrial CCS will be vital, and this project is a really great step in ensuring that we can move forward with industrial CCS. So for the industries that are located in Teesside, such as steel, chemicals or plastics, not only do they provide jobs and growth in the UK economy, they're also important in the low carbon economy, providing the materials we need to build wind farms or new power stations. And this particular project could allow this area to become an attractive place to invest, for industries like this to invest in the UK.
The key benefits for us are obviously to help our major emitters to reduce their CO2 emissions, have that stored so that they become even more competitive. Our area has a strong industrial base and we want to help that industrial base become ever more competitive. We think it's extremely important for the UK because it will be a significant step forward. At the moment the government has been looking primarily about reducing emissions and storing carbon from energy projects. This will be the first large-scale industrial project with the same aim. We think this will be a very important project. It is one that is going to focus on industrial activities rather than purely connected with energy requirements. And this will therefore give a blueprint for the whole of the country's industrial activities to show how this can be done. Well, we think it will be very important for our region. It will enable our companies to become more efficient, therefore form a base for inward investment, for more jobs in this sector, and obviously therefore help the UK and help towards rebalancing the economy back towards a more industrial base.
Yeah, industrial CCS is set to be incredibly important. There really is no other technology apart from CCS that can enable really deep reductions in CO2 emissions from these sectors. So going forward, it's the only solution we have, which is why it's an imperative we deliver this. So I think if this project is successful, then I think it creates the opportunity to build infrastructure in Teesside that secures a long-term future for those CO2 emitting industries and the associated jobs there. And then looking forward, potentially you could see more companies looking to invest there because they're attracted by the CCS infrastructure that's available. This project is hoping to be operating by the early 2020s, and it's really in the early 2020s that we need to start making deep reductions in our emissions from industrial sectors. So if we're going to deliver on our climate change targets, that's when we need industrial CCS. So Teesside's well placed to help make a contribution there. So I think looking forward, industrial CCS is going to be a growth sector. It is the only technology that can enable CO2 reductions from CO2 emitting industries. So it's going to be needed at scale elsewhere, both in Europe and also more widely. So I think if Teesside is able to generate that knowledge and know-how in terms of delivering this, then I think that's a really exciting exportable proposition for the region. So if the UK is going to deliver on its legally binding CO2 reduction targets, it needs to have industrial CCS as a reality in the early 2020s. Now these are big infrastructure projects, so to enable the project to be delivered by the early 2020s, we have to get started now, otherwise it will be too late.
Well, I think steel in the UK is a vitally important sector. It feeds straight into the low carbon supply chain, but it's very limited abatement opportunities in the sector, and really CCS at the moment is the only technology that can really deliver significant reductions in our emissions going forward. But we can only do that if we work together with other sectors in a geographical area to work together and develop the technologies and bring those emissions together. Steel is traded globally. The price is set globally. So we're at a very significant disadvantage in the UK if carbon costs are higher here and not higher elsewhere. But going forward, and if we look at the Paris talks this year, we will see the emergence of a global price for carbon. And at that point, we need to be the country that is at the forefront of carbon capture and storage, that we can have that immediate advantage and be there, right from the start.
Well, at Lotte Chemical, we've just invested in a new plant. We now make over 1,000 tonnes a day of polyethylene terephthalate, or PET, which most people know from beverage bottles and sandwich packaging. This project is a great fit because it makes our product more sustainable going forward from a carbon capture point of view, and it's part of our journey to make our products more and more sustainable going forward. We've invested 3 years ago in a brand new state-of-the-art production facility, and we would like to continue that investment, and this type of carbon capture system gives the potential to become a world leader to get further inward investment. So that's really the main answer. We want further investment in Teesside and the UK.
If you look at Teesside, Teesside has over half the UK's chemical industry. We are the location for the second largest blast furnace in Europe. It's an absolutely fantastic location. And the benefit of industrial CCS is that we can not only significantly reduce our emissions, and I mean significantly reduce our emissions, it's not tinkering around the edges, but also that we can encourage new companies to come to Teesside. And that means big chemical companies, new power companies, new cement works, new steel works can all be attracted to Teesside, and that's obviously got a massive impact for the UK economy. It's absolutely essential to cut the emissions by 80%. There's no way that we can get to our UK targets without industrial CCS. It's not just us that are saying that, the International Energy Agency say that, the Committee on Climate Change says that. Significant reductions in industrial emissions are absolutely vital to get to that 80% reduction. And industrial CCS is really the only technology that we can use to significantly reduce emissions in the industries that we're talking about. The chemical industry, the steel industry, the cement industry, there are not very many other technologies that can really reduce emissions by the amount that we need it to be reduced.